Julio Rodriguez is fun.
Hammered on its way! This is gone!
Julio Rodriguez is cool.
That will plenty do it! Say goodbye!
And Julio Rodriguez is everything that the major leagues need right now.
What a world to live in with Julio Rodriguez!
And the best part is, he's a part of your Seattle Mariners. Time and time again, we've seen Julio Rodriguez get compared to Ken Griffey Jr., the kid, the star of Seattle, the park that Griffey built. When you go around and talk to baseball players over the past few decades, their favorite player growing up, Ken Griffey Jr. And in the future, that player is going to be Julio Rodriguez. It's not just the great baseball player that Julio is that makes him so much like the kid. And I agree with everyone else. You don't need to compare Julio Rodriguez to Ken Griffey Jr., but when you think about how he stands in baseball, there's just so many similarities. An incredible rookie year, a dazzling smile, center fielder for the Seattle Mariners. Julio is a player that can make baseball fun for everyone. Julio is the player that kids can look up to. Julio is the player that kids can imitate in the batter's box. Julio is the player that when kids are watching TV, the parents say, "Hold on, son. Hold on, daughter. Take a look. Julio's up to bat." You turn the radio up a little bit louder when Julio Rodriguez is at the plate. And in terms of what Major League Baseball has to work with right now, he's easily the most marketable player on the planet. There have been some really good baseball players, but only a few of them have actually been able to be marketed well. Again, Ken Griffey Jr. is one of those guys. But right now in baseball, there really isn't many. You think about the best players in the game. Think about Mike Trout, for example. He doesn't want that limelight. He wants to be the guy who goes out there, does his job, and is the best baseball player to ever do it. But Mike Trout doesn't necessarily want to be on a cereal box. He doesn't want to be in a bunch of commercials. Shohei Ohtani definitely is that player over in Japan. He is the face of Japanese baseball and the face of the Japanese baseball culture, similar to how Ichiro was when he came up. But unfortunately for Shohei Ohtani and all of baseball, that really has not converted as well over here in the US. Don't get me wrong, Shohei Ohtani is a great player to market for the game, and I think something like MLB The Show did a really good job marketing him before their game started. But even with how good Shohei Ohtani is, it's still not easy to see a path for him forward where he becomes the literal face of baseball. And I think overall, baseball's been missing that for a while now, but there are a bunch of young players that could fit that mold. I think Julio Rodriguez, Jazz Chisholm, maybe a Tim Anderson, these guys would all be great faces for baseball. Someone who makes baseball cool to play for kids of all ages. And in terms of marketability, Julio has already been that guy. Not only does he play with style on the field, he always has a gigantic smile on his face, and he was also on the cover of the Topps Series 1 2023 collection. The first annual release from Topps in 2023, Julio Rodriguez was the face of it, and this is the first time that I've ever actually seen a player and Topps go hand in hand and create specific commercials marketing the product. And Julio, in typical Julio fashion, makes it look so good. He's had a cooking show, he had a Bob Ross-like painting show. There were some old-timey Topps Series 1 commercials going on with Julio Rodriguez. Not only did it make me miss the days of course, having some Mariners commercials to begin the spring, but also just the idea of having a player that rises above just the Seattle Mariners and rises above just baseball as a whole, but encapsulates the feelings of an entire country. The entire country that loves baseball, or young players that have yet to really find their groove. Julio is somebody that the MLB could market and be proud of what they're marketing. Julio can be an ambassador for the game, and he already has his own YouTube channel that he uploads on relatively regularly. And of course, I'm sure he has a team of people working on this, but even then, Julio has already shown that he's okay with being the face of something. He's okay with marketing himself towards the younger audience to show, hey, this is fun. And in a baseball world that has struggled mightily over the past decade or so, marketing itself to younger fans, making baseball seem like a fun sport to play, and definitely something that Rob Manfred and Bud Selig and anyone else in the major leagues has really been pushing for. They really do want to find a way to reach a younger audience. The more young adults, kids that really look at baseball in a different light than what it has been over the past decade or two. And if you're a Mariners fan, you have to look out there in center field every game and say, that's the guy. Julio Rodriguez is the one that can bridge that gap. Listen, I was always bullish on Julio. I thought he was going to be great, but I never would have imagined that he would be this impactful of a person and a player. And the Mariners did the right thing by extending him, basically for the rest of his career. Julio Rodriguez is so much more than just the center fielder for the Mariners. He's the bridge between the fandom and the game. While Julio can be a star on the field, he can be just as big of a star off the field for all of MLB. And thankfully, as Mariners fans, we don't have to worry about it. he's ours.